Good morning, Panama. Coming to you from beautiful Panama. This morning, we are going to do the chain of control, how control freaks are created and controlled, how the control freaks themselves are created and controlled, right? We're also going to, right after this, do architecting personal freedom. Well, this morning is Wednesday, January 14. It is 4:36 a.m. We're doing this cycle blade sharpening before anyone is even alive. And I'm doing some show and tell, right? I'm going to drink some Gorilla Mind this morning. And, let me see this real fast. Improve the image quality. Oh yeah, look at that, we did. We improved the image quality just a little bit there. Boom. All right. So, cheers. Good morning. I'm switching off of coffee for a time, probably a very long time. However, links below in the description, both for the Gorilla Mind and for the epoc. I can't stop smelling it. It's the perfect thing to sit right next to me while I do this in the morning, because just to smell, you know? The other thing is, now this is the wild version, okay? Blue! Blue! This is the wild version right here, oregano, all right? And oregano, oil of oregano. This is the wild version, everybody. That's not oregano. It is oregano. That's super strong. You never, I have this as a gift for somebody. Oil of oregano, anti-parasitic, longevity, performance, cleans out your arteries. There's another thing that you can pair with it that comes from the periwinkle flower. It's called vimbositine. And this can be stroke preventative, keep pathways open, and it's keeping the pathways open that prevents disease formation and other problems, right? Like heart attacks, strokes, etc. Blue! Blue! Okay. Well, all right, so most people, there's the star of the show. Come on. You want to see the star of the show? No? No? Oh, I'm sure she'll jump up here at some point. Most people think freedom is something granted by money, governments, relationships, or luck. It isn't. Freedom is architected. Let's go ahead and architect some freedom real quick. All right, this video is going to break down invisible systems shaping your behavior, decisions, and self-beliefs, and how most people unknowingly reinforce the very structure that limits them. We're not talking about conspiracy fantasies or escaping society or any of that, especially when we're talking about the control freaks. We're talking about real, verified, scientific, dots connected, yeah, for years by wonderful people, social science, all right? We're talking also about discipline, internal sovereignty, character, intuition, and clean decision-making. When you upgrade how you think and your navigational computer, what you tolerate and how you act under pressure, the matrix loses its grip, right? Freedom stops being a dream and becomes a daily operating system instead of the illusion. The illusion, so many illusions, so much drama, deception, stuff that's not even real is coming up and gripping your being, your thoughts, your soul, your situational posture, right? This is about reclaiming your direction mentally, morally, and strategically. This is a fake world. There's a lot of incentives to do bad things. You can get rewarded insanely by taking advantage of systems made to protect or help those in need, other people. You can take advantage of other people, right? All these kinds of things. I'm telling you, no one in my crew, they're in my crew because that's not what they do. Straight up, you know? Alternate short hooks, a lot about, you see it online now, it's getting around, you know? It's not what I do, it's not what we do, it's what we don't do, too, right? Freedom isn't given, it's engineered. Most people are trapped by systems they help maintain. Matrix scene in the red dress. The Matrix scene and the red dress. Look that up. Such a dynamic piece of art and statement. It's insane. Okay, but they will fight to protect the system that traps them and limits their potential. And your potential is your story. Your story is your adventure, right? For many of you, it's a lack of. If your life feels constrained, your internal architecture is outdated. Guess what that means? You take yourself, boom, and replace, as Buckminster Fuller says, you replace a non-functioning criteria system, set of operational components, like a watch or gun. You replace it all, rather than sitting there trying to reform it or reform this one piece that is just now so compromised in its integrity. We just need to, at the very least, get new metal, right? Okay. Now, the chain of control. The chain of control, how control freaks are created in control. So this morning I want to break down the chain of control actually works from the top down and why the system doesn't want free thinkers, it wants control freaks. It doesn't want free thinkers, it wants more control freaks just like them. They want you to be just like them, except they're not super depressed and suicidal. Those are two things that they want from you, but that they don't want for themselves. There's plenty that they want for you that they don't want for themselves. And one of the things they want for you that they do want themselves is for you to be the same debaucherous, greasy, grimy, two-faced, deceptive, destructive, dramatic individual. Okay, so here's the paradox most people miss. The more someone needs to control everything, the more controlled they usually are. Rigid rules, fear-based compliance, status, anxiety, overmanagement of others. These traits don't create strong societies, they create predictable ones. We'll dissect how modern systems reward obedience disguised as responsibility, control disguised as leadership, and conformity disguised as morality. Not with fantasy or hysteria, but with observable incentives, psychological conditioning, and historical patterns. As our modern professor of the PsyOp, Chase Hughes, has rigorously identified clearly for us in several presentations on his channel and elsewhere, there is definitely PsyOps going on. There is definitely dark intentions at the top. And once you study the PsyOps enough, because I don't want you to be steered by anybody. I want you to be the free thinker that they don't want you to be, that so many people don't want you to be right there in your house because they couldn't be it sometimes. It's just as simple as that. And they can't control their envy and need to sabotage and wing clip and build trauma bonds of codependency and all of that, right? We'll dissect how modern systems reward. Oh, okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to read that again. We will dissect how modern systems reward obedience disguised as responsibility, control disguised as leadership, to also obedience disguised, obedience formed by false drama, false incident, false problem. So they create the problem, they control the reaction, and they are the solution. All ready to go. Because it was their plan. And you've been duped. And if they duped you, they don't respect you. They don't love you, and they likely don't love themselves. They don't have any control over themselves, and so they're easily controlled. And they want fiercely control over others. It's a true sickness in every way. And again, to dissect it and understand the pattern recognition means you can avoid it, galvanize yourself in the opposite polarity of it, law of polarity, and, you know, to put differently and more popularly, as Carl Jung says, where your roots go, as low as your roots go, is as high as your branches will go, right? And we see that. We see that in nature. This isn't about blaming one villain at the top. It's about understanding. Oh, let me read that other one again real quick. We'll discuss how modern systems reward obedience disguised as responsibility or enraged for a lie of an incident, control disguised as leadership, and conformity disguised as morality. If you've been weaponized with a lie, oh, they attacked, but this person's lying, dude, this is some of the most debaucherous, horrid, soulless shit that's going on with that as the root. This isn't about blaming one villain at the top. It's about understanding how deception, fear, and moral outsourcing scale through institutions and how individuals like you and me unknowingly help propagate them. If you want real freedom, you have to see the system clearly without becoming what it produces. Let's see if I can just adjust this a little bit better. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now we're all close and personal. And it was good that we took time to do that, right? You don't want to just rush up on somebody. I learned these skills in San Martin recently when we did a nice little push, a multi-skilled learning Jedi communication seminar. If you want real freedom, you have to see the system clearly without becoming what it produces. Why do the most controlling people often live the least free lives? And why does the system quietly reward that personality type that really actually pushes, hangs on the government tit, for example, or the corporate tit or whatever, goes after the little pension and negates spending time on their own art and science and contribution, tells everybody that they're just as noble as someone that has, and usually has a significant drinking problem or some shit like that, has some of the caustic point of balance to that or association to that. Fantasy, negativity, false belief on the ego side. There can be false belief on the weaponization side, making you feel loyal, weaponized to a cause that's not real. That's an imaginary evil. And thinking that you're someone that you're not is also an imaginary evil. Fear creates compliance. Compliance creates predictability. They've got you in their mind. If you're being deceived by somebody, they got you right where they want you, and they think in their false reality, and that's how they pull this off a lot of times, that there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it because they don't respect you and they think they're better than you, and they think it's okay to pull wool over your eyes. If you need to control everything, something is controlling you. If you need to control everything, something is controlling you. Argentina and Brazil have gone through some seriously control-freak governments. Panama as well, a lot of places, right? And some of the people who really, especially during the pandemic, you could really see, right? Like some of the people who are seriously controlled, maybe the wife or whatever, it came out. Those are the Karens. You know what I mean? If I can lie to you and get you to inject poison into yourself, and it'll be because of stupid control freaks that don't study, that don't care, that don't have morality, that conduct this kinds of deceptive controlling. They all took the vacuna. You could look up what that is, right? That's a Spanish word. All right, so let's talk about some framing points, right? Control versus strength. True strength is secure in itself. It doesn't need to control anything. It wants a quality. It's high, it's strong, it takes life on, face on. It digs for the truth. It's like, I don't have time for bullshit. Likely, in many cases, because that person's had a bullshitter for a mother, or they've had enough bullshit in their life or something like that, and then they're like galvanized against it. No, this is not for me. I'm true through and through. And believe you me, that person will be the target of all deceivers. I can walk into the room and certain deceivers can detect that I'm that straight, and they'll not like me right away. And I'm not gonna not like them because they're weak and lower than me, but I'm certainly never gonna believe their lies. Right? So fear is the main scaling mechanism of control freakism. Fear. I'm trying not to talk about it less, but a sperm donation from the past that I'm carving out of my psyche and soul right now. And I have to, because there's nothing I can do. I can't get through. I've done everything I can do. That's the main thing. I've done everything I can do. And now it's time to move on. Now it's time to just respect this person who doesn't want a dad, and wants to be and is really, really into the trauma bond. And that's the thing. It's really hard to watch it when you know it's a product of abuse. It's really hard to watch a lot of these highly selfish chain reactions where a control freak is producing a control freak, and you just see all these control freaks. It's all an illusion, and standing back, it's just a big Jerry Springer episode. But up close, these people think that they're doing all the right things for each other, and but they don't understand the control thing, So do you ever feel like you're living inside of a system that quietly caps your potential? Like invisible walls are shaping your choices, reactions, and outcomes without your consent? This isn't about running away from the world. It's about building an internal architecture so strong that no external system can own you. When control freak, crazy person had set up a pregnancy to trap me and it didn't work, and then she used my love for this child against me and her love for me against her, brainwashed her to not even really realize that. At 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way to 23. Dude, you don't want a soul that has conducted that kind of child abuse for that amount of time. And you don't want to be some stupid ass idiot simp person that puts their loyalty in that. It will be your biggest regret when you go to the deathbed. I mean, it'll be as soon as you get out of it, you're going to regret every piece of time you were stuck in it. And a lot of times, depending on the severity of deceptive ability in that deceptive being, it could be decades that have been robbed from you. Anti-alienation project, Maddie, I'll put links below. So this freedom isn't given, it's engineered. Most people are trapped by systems they help maintain, all right? And so as we just discussed, fear is what they're expanding. The paradox most people miss. The more someone needs to control everything, the more controlled they usually are. I've seen this everywhere. Again, once you upgrade your navigational computer to the #1 skill of discernment between valiant, honest, and deceptive and not valiant and dishonest, right? Dramatic, deceptive, destructive. once you figure, well, that's what this thing is. Okay. All right, now let's go let's go real hardcore on this, and then we'll sign out. I will in the future do these at sunrise, right? Mostly, but I've got such heavy days on the farm right now. I even need that little sunrise crack to do my stuff, my farm stuff, right? So listen, the factual breakdown of how control systems propagate from the top down. Control is not power. Control is predictability. People who need to manage everything are easier to manage themselves. They comply faster, self-police harder, and enforce rules they didn't design. This is not accidental, it's incentivized. We'll examine rigidity over discernment, obedience over judgment, compliance framed as responsibility. Deception doesn't require chaos. It requires order without conscience. But they do cause lots of chaos. Evil doesn't scale through villains. It scales through systems that detach action from accountability. Well, I would disagree with that, actually. I think evil does transfer through villains that decide with their own faculties that they're going to be a dishonest, deceptive, scamming human being. And I really truly believe it starts with a lack in belief in self. Also, a lack of education. Also, a lack of skill. Also, a lack of the right examples. If your example is a control freak and they're controlling you, controlled are likely to be controlling. And if it's all you know and everything's contagious, you're likely the same thing. Some problems you just need to remove yourself from, and this is one of those. And architect up your own freedom. All right, we'll keep it short this morning. Thank you for being here. Or, coming later. There's nobody here. There's nobody. I'm on here for one person. I'm also on here because I know that I'm ahead of everybody in the discipline thing. I'm valuable to so many people that are so ahead of me in other ways because I'm ahead of them in the discipline thing, right? And I'm a slugger too in every world, but I was taken out by a kidnapping of my child from a control freak who used deception, thousands of deceptions, right? And evil scheming, child abusing, in the face of me sending her all the professionals and compilation videos, everything of how bad this damage is for kids. And now the kid's wearing exactly all that damage. But she still walks around saying she's an expert on me, better than me, commenting on my produce, which she could never even pull off, doesn't even know what it takes, But these people, they're mouth service professionals, man. Beware of the mouth service people. As my dad says, evaluate for actual skill. Evaluate for actual skill. Very, very important. If this person's got excellent fucking mouth service and not a lot of skill, that's not what you want on your tribe. I'm telling you right now. You've got a saboteur in your midst. The minute that he doesn't like what's going on, he's going to use his fabulous mouth to fucking, slick up, I'm trying to find the word, to ... the right people and form a deceptive, maniacal clan. And you'll be a part of that if you're not careful. And that's what we're looking at big and small scales across everywhere. And it's all illusionary drama. None of this shit's even real. But they're just making shit up left and right, weaponizing you and making you loyal to the thing. So architect yourself some freedom. Get out in nature, ladies and gentlemen. Do the hard stuff right away, ladies and gentlemen. Do not procrastinate, ladies and gentlemen. Be a go-getter, valiant, do the right thing, tell the truth. We can do this. My tribe is doing this, and they've been doing it for 4 years now, and we're growing. So if you want to know more about that, there's links in the description below. Let's go.